need to start the meeting by electing a chair for this meeting specifically. So I will entertain a motion to elect a chair.
I would nominate Kathy Prop.
Second.
Any other? No? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Kathy, take it away.
Okay. Welcome to the July 16 on City of Oshkosh Plan Commission meeting. We're glad to have you here in person and online. I see we do have a quorum. A few housekeeping items to go over. Please turn off or silence all personal communication devices. The applicant and members of the public may speak to any item before the Plan Commission when the relevant item is called and public comment is opened. Unless an exception is made by the Plan Commission, the following rules will apply. The applicant will have 10 minutes to present any information they wish. Thereafter, the members of the public will be given up to 5 minutes to address the specific item before the Plan Commission for consideration. Members of the public may speak only once per called agenda item, unless a Plan Commission member requires clarification or wishes to ask you a question. Questions or statements from the audience will not be considered. Only statements from the podium after your stated name and address and within the allowed time constraints are taken into consideration. After all have had an opportunity to speak on the called agenda item, the applicant will be asked if they have a final statement for the Plan Commission. Then the Commission may take action on that agenda item. The Common Council has adopted rules of decorum for city boards and commissions, including the adoption of a civility pledge. No person shall personally attack a board or commission member, city official or staff, or any other person. No person shall make irrelevant, unduly repetitious, offensive, threatening, slanderous, defamatory, or obscene remarks, or act in such a manner as to disrupt or disturb the orderly conduct of the meeting, including hand clapping, stomping of feet, whistling, shouting, and other demonstrations. Thank you for your understanding. Now on to the agenda. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bowen?
Here.
Ms. Shireman?
Here.
Ms. Prop?
Here.
Councilmember Nichols?
Here.
Mr. Ulrich? Ms. Davy?
Here.
Mr. Lowenstein? Vice Chair Kiefer? Chairman Perry? 5 board members present.
We have the July 2nd, 2024 minutes. Plan Commission, what's your pleasure?
Move to accept them as written.
Second.
Any discussion? Voice vote, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Abstentions? Thank you. Minutes have passed.
Yeah, item number 1 tonight, we're going to delay to the next meeting just as we only have 5 for a quorum, make sure we have more that are present, and want to make sure we get to the actual actionable items.
I have a question on that. Is that possible?
Yep.
What is the visualization plan?
So it's a collaboration effort between the city and 5 other community organizations that wanted to take a look at updating the 2000 action plan to look at what could a revitalized downtown area look like.
Bid, chamber, like
Yep.
those?
Bid, chamber, Go EDC, Community Foundation, Discover Oshkosh. I think I got them all in the city.
Yeah.
So
Got it.
We'll do it next time so you guys everyone can see kind of what the outcome of that was.
Perfect.
Okay. Item number 2 is release of sanitary sewer easement located at some addresses on Hearthstone Drive and one address on Park Ridge Avenue. The city is the owner and applicant. Have there been any site inspections?
Park Ridge, yeah.
Brave. The staff report is accepted as part of the record. Please report your summary.
Thank you. So yeah, the city of Oshkosh is requesting the release of a sanitary sewer easement, located within those 7 separate parcels. Here's a map showing the location of that easement. They're in the green slash marks. You can kind of see there's a sewer and then there's a storm easement as well, but today we're just talking about the green area. So the subject site involves 6 properties located on Hearthstone Drive and 1 property on Park Ridge Avenue. In 1981, the city was granted an easement for what is now within these properties that are listed above for sanitary sewer facilities that were constructed in the year 1980. So at that time, these parcels didn't exist. It was just an overall parent parcel that was subdivided in the year 2000 as the SARS plat or SARI's plat. That plat dedicated right away that included construction of a sanitary sewer main within the street, because at that time and currently the Department of Public Works has determined that these facilities within a street are more desirable than having them in separate parcels. Therefore, at that time, the specific of sewer main and the easement was abandoned, but the easement had remained. So the existing utilities will be abandoned in place, and the city will no longer be responsible for the maintenance of them. And so with that, staff does recommend approval of the sanitary sewer easement as proposed.
Planning Commission, any technical questions? Yeah, DJ.
I know there's an easement there. Is there actually a sanitary sewer under?
There is.
Okay.
So before I answer that, one minor clarification. These would have been abandoned when Stone Drive was installed, so I'm not sure if they were abandoned in place or removed at that time.
Oh.
So to answer your question, currently there's no functioning municipal utilities in that easement.
Okay. Are there pipes in that? Are these people going to have their backyards cave in? That's really my question at some point, because the city's.
I don't have a great answer on that because it was done back in the 2000 timeframe. So
Okay.
I don't know if they removed it or if the pipes are still remain in place.
Okay, and I'm assuming people got notice that we're talking about doing this.
It actually came from a property owner. They looked to get a fence permit, and the permit could not be granted because of the easement. And that's when, working with Public Work and the property owners, we were able to determine that that easement was no longer necessary, therefore freeing up the use of some of their property.
Got it. So just to play it back, though, it's possible that there are pipes in this easement that could collapse one day because the city's not maintaining it anymore?
It is a possibility, and it would be one singular pipe to my knowledge.
Okay.
And it's a small diameter. I wouldn't expect it to be a major long-term issue.
Okay, so this isn't like a 60-inch pipe?
Correct.
Okay, understood. And then I guess my second question, it looks like the easement continues across Parkway. Is that right?
Park Ridge.
Sorry, Park
To the
Ridge.
north.
Sorry, Park Ridge. Up here. So at this time, we're going to keep those easements that I assume goes through additional housing?
Correct. The easements to the north side of Park Ridge, the sanitary sewer side of it, does need to remain.
Okay, because it's still being used?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other technical questions? Seeing none, I will open public comment. Are there any members of the public that would like to make a statement? Anybody that wishes to make a statement on this item? Seeing none, I'm closing the public comment period. Commission, what action would you like to take?
Motion to adopt findings and recommendations as stated in the staff report.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bowen?
Aye.
Ms. Shireman?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Davy?
Aye.
Ms. Craw?
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0.
Is anyone here for this, Steve?
Okay, item 3, specific implementation plan amendment for exterior building modifications at 640 North Main Street. RK5 LLC is the owner and Grease Architectural Group LLC is the applicant. Any site inspections? Several. Staff report is accepted as part of the record. Please report your summary.
Thank you. So the subject site is located on the east side of North Main Street, north of East Parkway Avenue. Back in 2021, a general development plan and specific implementation plan for a gas station and convenience store, along with a laundromat, were approved, and the approved development was never constructed. The applicant is now requesting an SIP amendment. They've submitted revised plans for remodel of the existing building, with the second floor being removed, resulting in a one-story, 5,800 square foot building to be used as a convenience store with space for a future tenant to be determined. No changes are being proposed to the existing fuel station or parking area. A neighborhood meeting was held on July 8th with no neighbors in attendance. However, staff did receive a phone call from a neighbor who was unable to attend that meeting, and they would prefer an 8-foot tall CMU fence rather than proposed 8-foot cedar fence along the east property line right here. And that's to increase the buffer for the residents. Again, they prefer that CMU rather than cedar. There are no changes to the site design or landscaping. However, again, they're proposing 8-foot tall cedar fencing, whereas the original approval was for 6-foot tall solid CMU fencing. And the 8-foot tall cedar fencing does still meet our buffer yard requirements for 6-foot solid fencing, as our code does not specify what type the 6-foot solid fencing needs to be. Here are the proposed building elevations. So the originally approved plan was for mostly brick veneer and storefront windows. The applicant has submitted these elevations that consist of brick storefront windows and LP smart siding. The proposed elevations slightly exceed the Class 1 material requirements on the front west and the south sides of the building, and the applicant is requesting reduced Class 1 materials on the north elevation. And staff is supportive of the reduced Class 1 materials on that north elevation, as it's is abutting that north property line, and it's anticipated that future development on the north, the property to the north of the site will result in minimal visibility of the facade. And to offset that, the applicant has slightly increased Class 1 materials on the south side elevation and the west front elevation, and they've also provided enhanced canopy pillars, which include brick columns. Here's a view from North Main Street. And staff recommends approval of the SIP amendment with the findings and conditions in the staff report.
Yeah, just a little extra background why they came back. They are aware of the corridor development to the north that will be coming forward in the near future, and didn't think the design that they had blended well with that anticipated project. So they actually requested from us the concept elevations for that. That project is obviously not approved yet, and we'll have to go through this process. But they were trying to maybe match a little more cohesiveness in the area.
Any technical questions, Plan Commission? Any technical questions? I guess not. I will open public comment and request a statement from the applicant, if the applicant is here.
The applicant on public.
Your public, well, is the applicant
Applicant is
here?
here.
I need to hear from the applicant first. Sorry. Give your name and address.
Laura Kroll, 500 North Commercial Street, Neenah, Wisconsin.
Can you explain the project?
So the project is a convenience store with a gas station, and like was said, it was previously approved by Plan Commission. We changed materials for the building to be more cohesive with the building to the north. We are proposing a change in the fence for from a 6-foot high masonry fence to the 8-foot high cedar fence. As of any knowledge, we are unaware that there's anything in the city that's requiring a masonry fence. So we feel that it meets it. Well, it does meet the code, and cost-wise, it's going to be much less expensive than a masonry fence, and feel it would probably look better than a masonry fence. So.
Okay. If we want to ask questions of her, we bring her back later.
You can ask her now as well.
Okay. All right. Thank
Okay.
you. We'll be asking questions. Members of the public now.
So I am the person that couldn't come in last time.
Name and address, please.
The Bar Care, 637 Jefferson Street. I've been there for 22 years, and now I'm going to have this building behind me with lots of public, and Main Street is not well known for quiet or nice public. And I really don't want to live the rest of my life with a cedar fence where I can hear everything. I'd rather have what was proposed in the beginning, the 8-foot concrete fence. I really don't care what it looks like. I like my privacy.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak? Anybody else from the public wishing to speak about this 640 North Main Street plan? Okay. If not, I would like to ask the applicant to come back.
Yep.
I wasn't aware that a concrete fence was ever proposed.
It was a CMU masonry, CMU masonry, what was originally, I believe originally the fence was wood. It was changed to CMU masonry at Plan Commission the first time it went through in 2021. And now we have changed it back to a wood fence, cedar fence.
Now you want to change it back to a cedar fence, but it'll be 8 feet tall.
8 feet tall, instead of a 6-foot CMU fence.
And it'll be a solid
Solid.
cedar fence.
Yes.
Okay. About when might this project start? I think we all know that this property is a horrible eyesore.
I believe it's supposed to, pending changes, I believe it was the end of summer.
This summer?
And
if
at the end
pending
of summer.
approval?
Yes, pending approval. We haven't done any construction documents for it, so we have to do that.
Okay. I would hope it's quick. Other questions from the Plan Commission? Anybody? No more questions? Okay, anything else you'd like to say about before we close?
No.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, then I'll close public comment and bring it back to the commission. What's your pleasure?
Motion to adopt the findings and recommendation as stated in the staff report.
Second.
Discussion. Ed?
Probably a technical question that I missed the first time around, just so I make sure I understand. And I don't remember this coming through, I guess, the first time around. So I don't think I realized that there had been a CMU fence that we had approved. That's not typically what and was that something they proposed, or was that something we had requested?
So CMU would potentially be an acceptable fence material.
Right.
I'm trying to pull the minutes up quick.
It's really atypical to see either us request it or someone propose it because of how much more intense it is than just
the primary discussion back in 2001 in regards to the fence was 6 versus 8 feet.
Yeah.
Code requires 6 feet as part of the buffer yard standards, but it allows up to an 8-foot fence in terms of the height standards. So there is some description, there are some options there to the property owner and to Plan Commission. Plan Commission, I'm trying to find the exact motion, because I had this queued up because I knew we were going to talk about it here. Ultimately, the approval was only for the 6-foot CMU style. Even though there was a discussion about it potentially going up to 8, there was not a decision or a condition associated with doing that. So that's really kind of today why we're here to discuss it, is what has been proposed technically meets code, exceeds code, in fact, as an 8-foot cedar. The neighbor, given their proximity to the property, would prefer to see an 8-foot CMU. So that is now a kind of a discussion point. There was a number of base standards that were granted as part of the original approval for this gas station to be there on that small lot. They needed an access control variance, a number of things. So there is that plan unit development element where, because we granted base standards to make it work, the Plan Commission has that discretion to say, okay, do you think 8-foot CMU is necessary? Are you comfortable with 8-foot cedar? That's really up to your discretion at this point.
So when we approved this originally, our focus was less on the material and more on the height?
You had a discussion about whether you wanted to go to 8 feet instead of 6 feet. And it is noted in here that it was CMU.
And that was proposed by the petitioner
Yeah.
rather than required by the Plan Commission?
I do not see anything where Plan Commission specifically changed it to CMU.
Okay.
Applicant mentioned, that they could potentially, to incorporate a masonry fence and that they could go taller. So there was a discussion about it going potentially taller, but masonry, CMU, kind of being used interchangeably in the discussion that happened.
Okay.
My question is about the difference between the two. Is there that big of a noise buffer between the types of fences?
I couldn't comfortably say that. That is not something we have evaluated on the noise suppression of wood versus CMU.
Oh, DJ?
Sorry, just to confirm though, they're still exceeding what the requirements are by going to an 8-foot cedar rather than a 6-foot any type of fence.
Correct. 6-foot solid fencing is the requirement.
Sure, okay. Thank you.
I wish I could understand what a CMU fence is.
So essentially, they're concrete blocks. CMUs are a lot of times used as a
really are
building material.
concrete
They're
blocks.
concrete blocks. I mean, Ed, I'll look to you.
Yeah, it's literally concrete masonry unit is what
CMU stands for.
Is what CMU. So basically, it's just it's a big block wall. Typically, it would be
Usually,
either
what, 18
sealed and painted, or you cover it with like an ephes or a stucco material or something like that. I mean, it's going to look to some degree, and this is not historically accurate, but the wall that's around the Paint Art Center on the. Thank you. It's my neighborhood, and I'm blanking in the streets. The Congress Avenue side. It's historically it would be somewhat similar to something like that, but yeah, it depends on how you camouflage it a little bit. But it's a big block wall.
Okay. Anybody else want to make a comment? I do. I don't like the sound of a CMU fence. I don't think it would be appropriate in that. It would look out of place in that neighborhood. So personally, I'm willing to go with an 8-foot cedar solid fence, wood. And if that's what's being proposed.
Yep, that is what is proposed.
By the applicant.
Correct.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Margie?
Having the applicant build an 8-foot cedar fence doesn't preclude anything that goes on behind that fence, right? There could be other barriers put back there and.
Correct. Yep, on the other side of the property line, the owner could do something if they so chose to.
Okay, thank you.
Ready to vote? And roll call, please.
Did we get a motion on? I don't think.
Yeah, we had a motion.
Did I miss it? I'm sorry.
Can't start discussion.
Mr. Bowen?
Aye.
Ms. Shireman?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Davy?
Aye.
Ms. Prop?
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0.
Okay. Next is item 4, a zone change from single-family residential 9 district to institutional district with a planned development overlay and approval of a general development plan and specific implementation plan, mouthful, for a multifamily residential use at 600 Merritt Avenue, which is Marion Manor. Housing Authority of the City of Oshkosh is the owner. Any site inspections?
Everyone.
Staff report accepted as the part of the record. Go ahead.
Thank you. So the subject site is the Marion Manor Apartments, located on Merritt, Boyd, and Monroe. The site is currently a legal non-conforming site. It's zoned SR9, which does not allow multifamily residential. There's currently 121 apartment units on the site. The applicant is requesting a rezone to institutional district with a planned development overlay. And that planned development overlay would allow them to request to make their legal non-conforming use allowed and allow them to expand it through that planned development process. So staff is supportive of the rezone to the IPD designation, as it's consistent with neighboring properties to the west, which are the Boys and Girls Club, and to the south, which is St. Mary's Church. So here's a view of the subject sites. The applicant is not proposing any changes to the site design or exterior of the site. They're proposing an additional 6 apartment units within the building, and the existing site is housed by very low-income persons, with most being older adults and persons with disabilities. So they're going from 121 units to 127 units. And again, no changes to the building exterior or the site design. So apartments are not permitted in the institutional district. So a BSM is needed to allow the additional apartment units. Staff is supportive of that BSM to allow the additional apartment units, as it is consistent with the existing use of the property, and the relatively minor increase in number of residents should not negatively impact the surrounding area. Also, tenants are not anticipated to have personal vehicles, so no changes are expected to the existing parking on the site or traffic in the surrounding area. So with that, staff recommends approval of the zone change in GDP and SIP with the condition of a BSM to allow an apartment with 37 plus units.
Yeah, just real quick, this is a cleanup. It was a non-conforming use. They want to remodel their office into 6 more units. We took a look at the zoning, trying to figure out, we could go straight to multifamily. However, the design characteristics of the building don't really meet multifamily, so we would have created a different type of non-conforming use. Felt it was appropriate to use IPD, given the I in the surrounding area and the style of development. The PD be in place for any future development that they may need, or configuration changes. Well, it's already ready and they can use it in the future.
Technical questions, Plan Commission? Anybody? If not, I will open the public hearing and request a statement from the applicant.
My name is Wade Foley, 1100 West 20th Ave, Oshkosh, and I'm the Director of Maintenance for Oshkosh Housing Authority. The project is pretty much shovel-ready, and during the appraisal for financing, this popped up, and we kind of got to get it resolved.
Okay. And I have to wait to ask a question, right?
You can ask them now.
I can ask it now?
Yep.
Good. These 6 new units, I thought I read that a community room was going to be part of the area that you're using for these apartments. Will there be any community?
Yes, there are multiple community spaces in that. That was like a TV lounge, but there's 2 other areas for community use.
Okay, all right, that's my question. Thank you. Any members of the public that want to speak on this item? Marion Manorwin. Any members of the public? Okay, seeing none, I'm closing the public hearing. The applicant just made a statement, so I'm presuming you don't need a closing one.
No.
Commission, what action?
Motion to adopt the findings and recommendation as stated in the staff report.
Second.
Any discussion? Any discussion on the motion? If not, we'll have a roll call.
Mr. Bowen?
Aye.
Ms. Shireman?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols? Ms. Davy?
Aye.
Ms. Propp?
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0.
In the essence of time on the next one, because I know there is a chance we will lose quorum here at 5 o'clock, I'm going to have Brian do the presentations for both of them so we can get through it a little quicker and get on to the discussion.
Okay. This is a zone change first from Central Mixed Use District with Riverfront Overlay to Central Mixed Use District with Riverfront Overlay and Planned Development Overlay for property at 400 City Center. And the next one is a General Development Plan and specifically Implementation Plan for a personal storage facility at 400 City Center. Go ahead.
Thank you. So the applicant is requesting to rezone the city center property to add a planned development overlay, and that is intended to allow some flexibility in the zoning ordinance to accommodate a new use in the property. And the applicant has submitted plans for a personal storage facility, which is a prohibited use in the central mixed use district, and there will be GDP and SIP review to follow. Staff is supportive of that proposed zone change, as that PD overlay will allow the flexibility for future developments or redevelopment plans as it relates to the unique lot configuration, as they do have 4 frontages and waterfront frontage. So here's an aerial view of the subject sites, and staff recommends approval of the rezone request. So for the GDP SIP, the applicant, as mentioned, is proposing remodel of the northern portion of the existing building for personal storage facility use. So kind of this portion up here, the northern portion only, and that is not a permitted use in the CMU district. The applicant has noted that the site will have 4 overhead doors for customer vehicle access, and approximately 35 customers per day is anticipated. And they note that it will result in reduction of parking demand for the site, and they feel that that will help future needs for the site, and those will open up parking opportunities for other site users. Plan Commission workshop was held back in May, with Plan Commission being generally supportive of their plans. Staff has concerns with allowing a storage use in the CMU district, as the zoning ordinance only allows this type of use within industrial zoning districts, and that may not fit the character of the downtown area. Also, the 2040 Comprehensive Land Use Plan recommends center city use, and storage or industrial uses are not a permitted use based on the comp plan. And the site is also located within the downtown outer core sub-area of the Imagine Oshkosh plan, and industrial and storage are not listed as desired uses for that area within the Imagine Oshkosh plan. Staff does understand the applicant's difficulties in filling the vacant space based on the current market demands. So we are recommending that Plan Commission make the determination on if a BSM is appropriate for the proposed storage use at the site. The applicant provided a landscape plan, so they are proposing to remove all existing landscaping that surrounds the building and install new landscaping, which will result in about 136% of the existing landscaping points. So the new landscaping would serve to offset the BSM if granted for the storage land use. Here are the building facades. So the applicant is proposing to close the loading dock and provide glass overhead doors, proposing to paint the concrete panels, also utilizing metal cladding. Staff is supportive of the proposed exterior modifications, as all existing window openings will be maintained, and the proposed metal cladding is a comparable exterior material to the existing concrete panels, which make up the primarily the exterior facade. They also utilize spandrel glass on the windows that should shield the view of the storage operations within the building, and that would serve to limit the industrial appearance of the site. So staff has concerns again with the prohibited storage land use, and we are recommending that Plan Commission determine if and how the industrial use meets the criteria for a plan development and the required findings as well. And should Plan Commission recommend approval, staff is supportive with the proposed landscaping plan and also the building exterior modifications.
So, kind of as Brian noted there, because this is inconsistent with our underlying plans for the area, Plan Commission, it will be, if you choose to recommend approval, you will need to articulate your exact findings on why this should be approved. The normal findings that we use can't be used in this instance, so that'll be up to Plan Commission and then ultimately Council to articulate those specific reasons and findings for why, if they choose to recommend approval.
And I forgot to ask about site inspections. Anybody's site inspections? Thank you. Any more?
Nope.
Okay, technical questions? Ed,
I just have one on what you just said, Mark. So our findings, if we find that this is something we want to vote for, let's just say that. You're asking us to articulate our rationale for that individually, collectively?
As part of the motion, you will have to, when someone makes a motion, they will have to make a motion of what they want to do, recommend approval, with the findings, this, and this. You have to articulate those findings on here is why I'm making the motion to approve.
That's my question. When you're articulating, what are you saying? Because you support the usage, you say it goes with the neighborhood?
Whatever your reasoning, findings is another way of saying it, your reasoning.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
whatever you used to come to the conclusion you did.
Whatever lark that we use to come up on this one is, you just want to know what it is.
Correct. You have to specify it so we can include it in the actual ordinance and resolution.
And as we vote on that, collectively, we all
Then you
need
are-
to be.
you are voting-
We are unified on that rationale that we are.
You are using that as part of your vote. You're taking those findings and, yep, I agree with A, B, and C.
So in the event that I want to vote for it for one reason, but Margie doesn't like my reason but wants to vote for it for a different reason, or not, I guess I'm just.
Yep, she could further articulate her reasons
Okay, so
why.
we have to, so as we're doing this, we need to make sure that we're specifically.
So we can do this two ways. And this is where it's nice to speak with Attorney Lawrenson, which I did ahead of time. We can split this into two votes. It can be a first vote for approval, and then second vote articulating here are the findings, and now we're going to vote on our set of findings we used.
That seems easier.
Yep.
So I have a couple questions. I guess the first one, so the resolution that's put together with the findings, with the vote, if this does go to council, that will just be approved by council. Council won't make separate findings, is that right?
Correct. Council could adopt those findings as their reasons for approval, or they could similarly choose to make their own set of findings.
But the
on why.
recommendation's going to council with the findings that we talked about today?
Correct.
Okay. And then my second question, so if we bifurcate, I guess, our findings and our approval, that means we're voting 3 times for this particular issue, because we're doing zoning change, and then approval, and then findings.
Correct.
Okay. And then my third question, which is completely unrelated to everything I just said, but it's a technical question. How many, and I should have this number memorized by now, but how many ballpark housing units are proposed right now for the downtown area?
I'll have to look at that.
I know, I'm sorry. That's something
that sheet we did for you.
I know, I was looking for it on my phone,
I don't have that number
either, but that would just be helpful. And we'll get to the discussion stage, and I think everybody knows why, but we can talk about it then.
Yeah, I can, while you talk, let me see if I can find it.
Okay, well, I'm still on the technical questions part. We do have on page 7 and 8 of the staff report findings that we could use. Is that correct?
So there are findings for the zone change, depending upon which piece.
That's the zone change?
And then in the A through J are the findings for a plan development as listed in the zoning ordinance. The zoning ordinance gives you some criteria of here are the types of things you can consider. It is by no means the only things you can consider. We just probably do the whole list of these are what these in the actual ordinance that are examples of findings for a plan development.
We don't need findings for the zone change. We only need.
There are findings for the zone change, but they're in the other staff report, and those are, you could use the ones as we laid out in the staff.
If I may, other plan developments, when staff recommends approval, you would notice that those change with every development that we recommend approval for. And they're not always all listed. Some may be listed, some may not be in that list.
We use the applicable
ones, yes.
Yeah. Okay. We're still on technical questions. Any more technical questions? Okay, right now, I guess not. Then I will open the public hearing on zone change and ask for a statement from the applicant. And right now, this is zone change only.
Okay.
And then we'll come back to the actual plan.
Okay. So what do you, I don't understand the difference of what I'm supposed to speak on.
So zone change is the mechanism of adding the plan development overlay.
Okay.
So then we can hear the project as presented.
Yeah.
Without the zone change, we couldn't do the plan development.
Okay, so.
We're adding plan development overlay with this motion.
And as we did it all at one, I think it's just appropriate, talk about your project.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The floor is yours.
We don't,
Say whatever you need to say.
Okay.
I think we're all okay.
You had me for a minute. Okay. First of all, my name is Kirk Kepler. I live at 1726 River Mill Road. I've been a resident of Oshkosh for almost 50 years. I know it's hard to believe because I don't look that old, but I'm one of the managing partners and owners of City Center. We purchased the property in 2001, and at that time it had a 75% vacancy rate. Since the purchase, we've invested over $12 million in improvements. The project we're bringing you today is a critical part of our property. The market for large office space is virtually non-existent. Due to COVID, more people are working at home. This previously was a U.S. Bank backroom office complex, and they downsized because most of their people are working from home. We've had the property on the market for 2 years and have received no interest. We think that extra space storage will be a great fit for our property, and the reasons are as follows. They're a national chain with over 3,500 locations. They have the largest self-storage facility in the country. Parking is a problem at our property when we are full. U.S. Bank tenant required 200 parking stalls. U.S. Bank will require 4. So it's a significant downsize of our parking requirements, enabling us to offer more parking to future and potential tenants. Extra Safe Storage operates more as a retail destination. They have limited access with overhead doors with controlled entrances. Customers will drive up, open one of the overhead doors, pull in, close the door behind them, unload, and then exit. There will be no storage outside of any vehicles, no trailers, no semis, everything will be inside. They also, as Brian alluded to, average about 35 cars a day. That's the normal car load that would be arriving on the site, opening the doors, pulling in, closing the doors, unloading, and then leaving. We have done extensive research on Extra Space Storage and believe they will be a great asset to our property and to the community. Apartment living has become a way of life for many Americans, and the need to put their excess items in storage has become a necessity. Extra Space Storage fits that need. I have toured some of their sites. I have even used some of their sites, and they are first rate. They are well lit, they are safe, they are clean. They couldn't run a better operation. And we plan on making improvements to the exterior of the building to facilitate this need. For the sake of clarity, I would like to have the elevations put up so I can describe each one. I also have put some on a little more substantial that you could pass around. Okay, that is the west side of the building, the top picture. You will see on the right-hand side some series of concrete panels which do exist. It's part of the design of the building. We will be painting them and using those design features to accent the painted areas. If you look along the second picture, which is the main entrance, you will see on the right-hand side an office entrance and windows next to that to the left, and then two overhead doors which will facilitate the entrance of customers. Like I said before, they will open the door with their remote that's provided with their storage unit. They will pull in, close the door behind them, unload their equipment. There's carts, there's places to help, there's motion detectors, it's amazing how they operate. Okay, so that's that area of the building. If you look on the second floor, you'll see a series of windows. Those windows are existing and will remain. We anticipate blocking out some of the inside of the windows with a cladding, not a cladding, a coating that will match the color of the glass and the windows. The top section of the windows you see will remain open to allow natural light to come into the building. But as it was a concern for staff originally, we didn't want people to see the cubicles from the street. So that will not be part of the exterior. Those windows will be blocked out. The coating will match the existing building and the existing spandrel that we use. So it will allow natural light, but still not allow the visibility of the cubicles. If you look at the bottom picture, you'll see the second story windows are existing. They will have the same treatments as I described before. The first floor, you'll see to the left are two overhead doors. Those will facilitate larger vehicles pulling in and unloading to an existing loading dock and access to an existing freight elevator. Can you pull up the existing of that? Okay, the bottom picture, if you see to the left, it kind of looks like a black hole. That is the entrance to the loading dock. On the left-hand side of that, you'll see there's a large generator that's used for temporary power if utilities go out. We will close that in entirely, so you won't see the loading dock, you won't see the generator, you'll see two overhead doors that will be all glass, in which people with a larger vehicle, maybe a box truck, no semis, can pull in and unload. You'll also see that on the top picture, there's cladding and paint that will go along that exterior, and the windows that are existing there will also be clad with the same coating, so you will not see any storage cubicles. You'll just see a window that looks like it's blank. There's also an access door in that area which will remain. If you look to the right of the second story of the top picture, that is the current Social Security office. We will be taking that exterior and blending it into the new exterior with color and different claddings. So that area of the building you could see is a considerable upgrade, as is the rest of it. So I've detailed what we're going to do to the building. But I must touch on the fact that how important this is to us. We've owned this property since 2001. We have not taken money out of it since we've owned it. We have plowed it all back into the property, trying to keep it as nice as we can and attract tenants. This will be a great upgrade for us. It will be, I can't explain how important it is to our site to let us maintain the current budget plans that we have that allow us to keep it looking as good as it does. It's really important to us.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we just have 10 more minutes while we have a quorum.
Oh, okay. Give me 30 seconds. I'd like to have Eric Wellhouse come up, who is the developer, and he can explain more about how extra storage space works. But I want to thank you for your time, and I also want to commend you on the workshop idea. I have been doing this for a lot of years. I've come before the Plan Commission on numerous occasions. I think the workshop is a great addition to what you guys do. This is Eric Wellhouse. He is the developer and owner of several extra space storage sites, which I have toured personally, and I would invite you to, if you'd like to tour some of his sites, but he will describe more what's available and what the business is for extra space. Thank you.
Your address, please.
W2646 Buchanan Road, Appleton, Wisconsin. Developer, working with Kurt on the city center, proposed city center extra space storage location. A few highlights. I know we're under time crunch. This facility will be staffed. There will be access hours, which I think were indicated before in the workshop. The typical hours of operation are for staffing are from 9:30 to 6, Monday through Friday, and Saturday is 9 to 5 on Saturday, and the access hours are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Then there's no access after that. So it is not like it is a open 24/7, anybody can go in or out, to eliminating loitering, keep everybody's stuff safe. These are Class A storage facilities. It's a really different product. Most of the time when people hear of self-storage, they think of long buildings with multiple doors, and it's very well poorly lit. This is completely the opposite. LED lighting, staffed, and hours of operation, and its extra space is the largest self-storage operator in the United States. So they know what they're doing, they do it very well, and they do coexist in multiple urban settings like this throughout the nation. I can give you examples of those if you'd like. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I recommend we take care of the zone change? As it takes 2 readings at council anyways, if we run out of time, at least the zone change gets the ball rolling.
Okay, anybody else that needs to speak on this item? If not, I'll close the public hearing on zone change. Or on both?
On both, yep.
Close the public hearing on both. Commission, what action on the zone change?
I make a motion to adopt the findings and recommendations on the zone change as stated in the staff report.
Second.
Any discussion on zone change? Okay, let's have a roll call.
Mr. Bowen?
Aye.
Ms. Shireman?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Davy?
Aye.
Ms. Prop?
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0 for the zone change.
Okay, we've heard from the applicant on both.
Yep, so we can go straight to a motion.
And we've heard
on
the public hearing. Okay, we're going to go straight to a motion on
the plan development.
development plan.
if it's okay, I'm gonna try just to do it and see if we can agree quickly, and maybe we won't. But I'm gonna try to see if we can get it done under time. So I make a motion to approve the general development plan and specific implementation plan with the following findings. That this does not detract from the physical appearance of the area and actually improves the look of a building that is a long-term staple of our downtown area, produces a logical use for a downtown area that has limited storage opportunities, and the continued growth of downtown area for residential use with multifamily housing will necessitate increased convenient self-storage. Does that work?
That works.
Second?
Second.
And now we can discuss it.
Now you can discuss.
Well, Meredith,
Interestingly, I was ready and prepared to do that, and I didn't say it quite like that, you have a few more words than I do, but I'm overwhelmingly in support of this, mostly for the just general look and feel and need. And if you look up the franchise, you get instantly a warm feel. And then finally, this feels more like a business to me, like they have hours of operation. So if you had another, I work at US Bank, I know that there's cars going and, it's like busy and all that kind of thing. And this isn't going to be, this is 35 cars a day on average. It just seems like a no-brainer to me. So those are my comments.
Ed?
I just actually had a question. Do you mind if I?
No, I want you to. I have a question also.
You mentioned the Social Security office, Kurt. Is that staying as part of this, or is this going to be in that space as well?
No, the Social Security has a long-term lease. They will be staying.
So this is just the old US Bank portion?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
That was my question, thank you.
Yeah, and that sort of maybe goes to my commentary here, is that, is maybe on face, storage in the downtown is an easy thing for a lot of people to maybe say, well, that's not appropriate, or that's, whatever. But I do, knowing that US Bank space, knowing what they were in, that's going to be a tough hole to fill within this building for anyone, frankly. And I guess activating that space is something that I think, even if it's a relatively low intensity activation, I think to DJ's motion and his findings that are much better put than anything I could have come up with.
Exactly.
I think activating this building and making sure that it remains relevant in the grand scheme of our downtown, instead of what it is right now, which is essentially that space being a glaring vacancy on the market, dragging down everything around it. I think this is something that I can definitely get behind.
Yeah, Margie.
I have a couple of questions for you, Kurt. The first one is, if this were not to pass, would you be tearing the building down?
No.
Okay. And are there actually 4 overhead doors?
Yes.
Okay. I kept seeing them in this different,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, you can see them on that elevation.
Oh, there you can see.
1, 2, 3, 4, yeah.
Old Sears place, yeah.
Well, I just have I have a comment in addition. This is a comment, not changing the motion, but I think this is important to maintain that whole city center, which has become a really important part of downtown. And believe it or not, that the architecture on this building is unique. And it was done by a noted architect, says my friend. So, believe it or not, it doesn't look like it to us, but I think it's important. So I want to support this. Any more discussion? Any more findings needed?
No.
The findings adequate?
I just asked you to send them to me when we're done, so I get them right.
Yeah.
Okay, ready for a vote?
We are.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bowman?
Aye.
Ms. Shireman?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Davy?
Aye.
Ms. Prop?
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0.
Ooh. We made it.
Yeah, we're on to adjourn.
So, next item is adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye, aye. Okay,
Aye.
we're adjourning.
All right.